That so we are responsible is that's what our acronym is for this book. It's book 2 of 3 of the All Things Wellness book series, and it's going to come out in about the next 5 weeks or so. I have one of the amazing authors and my very newest, bestest friend here with me today, so he is going to read some of his stories. Just to give you a refresher, story teasers are about 250 to 300 words that these authors read of their true personal stories of their heart, spirit, mind, body. And that gives you an inside scoop of what you're going to be able to hold in your hands. And it's a pretty big book. This is the first one. Look at that. It's heavy, isn't it, Victor? You've had that baby.
Yeah, I could barely lift it up.
Hey, team. Oh, that's awesome. And, I want to share, Victor, that one of the main reasons that Markus and I wanted to write this, you and I have had a conversation that I want to share. And you asked me when we had coffee together just a bit ago, like, what makes this different, Peggy? Like, other people are doing compilation books and sharing stories. Like, why did you decide to do this? What makes it different? And my response to you was twofold. We wanted to write a book that not only shared everybody's stories, but also had some content in it from our work over the past years as a physician coach in the medical field. And I also said to you very quickly is that I want to create a platform where real people with real problems, they don't have to ever have written anywhere before. They don't have to be an author. I'm not here to just fill a book. And I want to be a platform to just share your stories. And that's how we're here. And I want to, before I have you do this, read your story, the main thing I want to say to everybody today is it's relationships, it's collective consciousness, it's bringing us together with one big mission and vision, and that is to understand each other and each other's perspectives. I wouldn't know Victor if it wasn't for Dennis Potoko at Biz Catalyst 360, who I write with, who I wouldn't know from this person and this person and this person. So we are net weaving.
Net weaving.
That's
yes, I love that term.
That's what Dennis says. So, Victor, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Tell us a little bit about yourself before we hear about your story.
Well, I have a background as a primary care physician, and then I segued into executive and administrative medicine. I have a fellowship in preventive medicine. But during my full-time working medical career, I wrote my first book, and that was a health-related self-help guide. And I'm now working on my 7th book. I'm no longer practicing medicine. I'm still involved in health and wellness with the Blue Zones Project, which is health, wellness, and well-being initiative. And some other things that I'm involved with, the global peace movement and other things, because healing the world is a way for us to enjoy better health worldwide.
Absolutely. See why I like him, guys? See why I drove hours to have coffee with him? Yes. All right, let's hear your story.
Sure. Well, this is an excerpt from A Soul's Journey, and where I describe a between lives soul regression that I was guided through. My session lasted over 2 hours and encompassed 4 distinct experiences. In order to travel between lives, a death had to occur. I remember reading about that, but not thinking it through very well. This was not a peaceful transition surrounded by loved ones prior to entering the afterlife. I relived hiding in a dimly lit apothecary shop. An angry mob hunted me as a woman accused of witchcraft, and I was very much afraid. I guessed I was in my late 20s or early 30s. My past life experience then shifted to being tied to a stake, looking out at an angry and fearful mob of townspeople. Mercifully, I did not relive being killed. I think I was burned. I'm sure the dying part was painful. Yet, as my soul left my body, I could see the crowd staring at me. My guide asked if there was anything I wanted to say to them. My answer was one of forgiveness. They didn't understand me. They feared me. I told them that I forgave and loved them. Even writing these words now and sharing this part of my journey fills me with a sense of affirmation. This is my higher self. My soul is filled with love, compassion, and forgiveness. This is how I want to be in this lifetime. My guide later explained to me that I chose this path past the death experience to convey that message of love and forgiveness. I entered a place of extraordinary peace and beauty. It reminded me of the scene in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy first enters Oz. Vivid colors and light that I can describe as psychedelic and very real. I traveled briefly until encountering egg-shaped, shimmering light beings who welcomed me back. This was home. I'd been here before.
And if anyone would like to hire Victor to read any audiobooks for, give me a call. You're
story there, but I because I used to do podcasting and I would narrate other authors' work, and I had done some training possibly in doing book narrations, but then I decided that it was too much work.
Yeah, it's a lot, but your voice is very soothing and captivating. So it definitely is a skill.
I don't know if it comes across that I'm blushing, but I think it does.
No, it's true. You've only known me for a little while, but I don't usually say things that I don't mean. So I mean that sincerely.
Thank you.
So tell me real quickly, I'm going to read a little bit of mine too, actually, one of mine. Tell me what the process was like for you cathartically, or what that process was like putting this down on paper and sharing this, giving this to me to share with the world.
Yeah. Well, as I told you when we had coffee, I, can count on one hand the number of people I've shared this story with. It's not only highly personal, but it's the kind of thing that some people might view with either skepticism or they think it's too woo-woo or what have you. And there's a certain vulnerability when you share a story of this type that it won't be well received, or it won't be heard in the way that you want it to be heard or read.
Right.
But I also am at a point in my life where it's like, hey, this is me. And what do I have to hide?
Love that. Yeah.
As Oscar Wilde says, be yourself, everybody else is taken.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
No, that's a good one. That's a good one. My goal is to really get the younger generations to tell their stories sooner instead of waiting till later. A lot of us wait till later. We wait for, I've said this a million times, for someone to pass, or we're worried about what others think. And we forget that it is our story to tell. And I would love 20-year-olds, teenagers, to be able to feel comfortable. And it's all about vulnerability. And thank you I'm holding it very gently.
Thank you. We're all storytellers, and that is one of the ways that we connect. And it's our shared humanity in how we share these stories. So I really applaud what you're doing, and as you said in our conversation previously, and reminded me today, you're getting real stories from real people, and I think that's something that we should all celebrate.
It's a blessing, I'll tell you. I know I keep saying today, but I got another story this morning, and it just, you put on the editing hat, and this, Victor, you put on this hat and you're like, I've got work to do, and your fingers start doing the dancing. But then it's that real stuff that's unexpected, where I'm like 4 paragraphs in editing and I'm like, I got to stop editing to read this. Like, where's my tissue? It's like, it's a lot. But it's such a blessing. All right, I'm going to read some of mine. I'm a little nasally here, but here's one of the stories that I have coming up in the book. It's such a ride when you're a writer, especially if you honor the process and let your passion and thoughts guide you, versus writing with sheer force to drive the end product. And if you let go of the mindset that it has to be perfect, a way to express your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and behaviors is quite a ride, my friend. Stories tend to flow through my vessel rapidly. I do not fight the GPS of my creativity. There may be detours or roadblocks, but I tag along for the ride and my fingers do the walking. Over 20 years ago, I decided to attend night school at Colorado Christian University. And as a full-time working wife and mother of two, it held its challenges. I declined scholarships after high school to follow the small paper mill town dream. Get married to your high school sweetheart and get the hell out of Dodge. College can wait, and it did until I was 35. I've always loved English. I fancy creative writing and painting with words, just paint, paint, paint. I tend to be an overly rambunctious, compound, complex sentence fan who doesn't love a good modifier. I adore punctuation, driving my overuse of ellipses and dashes and semicolons. I can nail a dozen adverbs in a single bound. We could play indirect and direct pronouns all day long, and I can rearrange a story flow like I'm walking in the park on a blissful Sunday stroll with a pungent smell of jasmine. Words flow easily, imagination flows, and I paint my words with passion. A year ago, I stumbled upon a pile of old journals, blogs, college papers, and more while I was packing to move, and I stumbled upon a poem that I wrote to my 71-year-old professor, Miss Beverly. People are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and Miss Beverly has held all three for me.
Brava.
And I could read with my glasses on. That's awesome. Oh, Victor, this has been great. Thank you so much. And I know we're going to do many more things together.
Well, do I get to ask you a question or two about your story?
Go, podcaster, go.
Well, I spend a lot of time talking to writers, and the craft of writing is something that I've sort of immersed myself in, and I love well-crafted long sentences. There's something beautiful about that, and it's a little bit counterculture.
Right.
But I actually had listened to a series of college level courses from the University of Iowa, which has a very highly regarded writing program, about how to create long sentences that work well. And so brava, actually, feminine, to you, Peggy. And it's interesting. I didn't know that about your background, and I'm sure there's a lot of interesting other stories that hopefully I get to learn a little bit at a time.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are going to do many things, as I say, and it's been a blessing to get to know you, and thank you for being on this journey. And you guys out there, you can catch all these other story teasers on my YouTube channel, All Things Wellness Media, or hop onto my website at www.allthingswellness.com. And till next time, when you read, you get to see more of my authors reading their stories. Victor and I are going to say, go have a good day. So bye, Victor. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, honey.